Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160EN podcast. This is podcast number 62, and I'm joined by my two good friends. Christian, how you doing, bro?
Doing all right, man. Feeling a little sick, feeling a little under the weather with the flu.
Oh, sorry, guys, we got to do the podcast on another day then.
Yeah, I think we might. Can we reschedule this to next Wednesday? Actually,
Well, no, we'll do this podcast in February. Sounds good?
Yeah, that sounds good, man. But other than that, I'm doing pretty well.
And I'm also joined by Steph. Steph, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good, even though we won against Setubal in a very, very shaky way. I'm doing okay, so we'll talk about it.
Yeah, let's get right into it, let's get right into the Twitter questions first. I'll start off with Alkshit Youth at Alkshit Youth on Twitter. He asks, who should replace Bruno Fernandes if he leaves us? Christian, I'll start that one off with you, dude.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the new. I mean, the first biggest question is what are the details of the transfer, and then the next biggest question is who's going to replace him. I mean, that is a very tough question to answer, and I don't really think you're going to find anyone immediately that's going to replace the productivity. I mean, the guy's contributed like 90% of our goals or assists, 90%. He's either assisted or scored like 90% of our goals, I feel like, over the past 2 seasons. It's all good. And, I don't think that they're going to find anyone immediately that's going to replace him. I mean, there was that talk of that Robert Tony guy back in the summer from Vela Sarsfield. I don't know if he's going to end up back on our radar. There's another guy from River Plate, Nicolas De La Cruz, who's on our radar. There's really not going to be a single player that replaces him. They're going to have to adjust the formation. I think maybe tweak it a little bit to maximize the personnel that they have, at least. Because I mean, you're not going to get 20 goals, 20 assists, 30 goals, 20 assists from a midfielder, in any other circumstances.
Agreed. Anyways, next question comes in from Joel Da Silva at Joleon_073. Again, another Bruno Fernandes questions. He asks, with Bruno Fernandes departing, and considering that without him we are complete trash, do you think that we will find a direct replacement, or are we going to see a tactical change maybe? Sort of on what Christian was saying, but Steph, I'll pass that one off to you. What do you think, dude?
Well, most likely it'll be a tactical change for sure. Like Chris said, he hit it right on the head of the nail. It's going to be extremely difficult to replace such a good player. But we do have options. But like always, we don't know how to make deals. Even when we loan players, like we have put against that Studio, he has put together some amazing performances. He's been very consistent. He could for sure be the man that we need to replace Bruno Fernandes. But not expecting that he would score so many goals and so on. With the change of tactics with Bragança, I think we would have been in good shape. But again, we can even get him back now in January because we don't know how to make loans. So that's not even an option, even though he's our player. Just like Palhinha, which we spoke about. Of course, he wouldn't be replacing Bruno Fernandes, but Palhinha would be a better number 6 than Doumbia and Battaglia, because Battaglia is still not at the level that we need him to be. And then all the names that Chris said, they sound pretty good, but the thing is, do we have the money for some of those names? I don't think we do, unless we sell Bruno Fernandes, then maybe we'll have some money to spend. But don't forget, the reason why we're selling him is because we have to pay our creditors. So a big chunk of it, I think it's 44 million, will have to go to the creditors, because that was agreed upon, that 44 million will have to be to pay the banks and so on. So then we left with, what is it, the deal, 65 million, I believe, or 60 million?
Yeah, right.
So then we left with 16 million. So, just, putting some numbers together, shooting from the hip, of course, I don't know anything concrete. And then I think there's 10 millions in certain goals that Bruno Fernandes has to meet, like a certain amount of games he will play and so on from Manchester United. So a lot of Manchester United they are also Sporting fans. They're very excited that he might go to MU. And I saw on Twitter and the official Manchester United account, most of the fans, they like Bruno Fernandes and they want to see him. So, but to be realistic, if we want to make money, we have to sell him now. I don't know if we hold him until summertime. I don't know if we'll make more money than now. So, but that's it.
It's definitely a gamble. Definitely a gamble. I think the only good thing with us selling him at January is if we can get United really desperate, because they do desperately need a midfielder of Bruno's quality. We can hopefully get a decent price tag for it. But and they're also saying they're going to throw in players, which would be interesting. But anyways, we'll also get more into Bruno Fernandes in a little bit. Next question comes in from David Claudio at David Strife 35. He asks, do you like Vieto? What future awaits our club? And he says, Fernando and Hesse, I do not like them and I want them to leave Sporting. I think we can all three of us can agree with that last sentiment, that Fernando and Hesse definitely need to leave. But Christian, what do you think of Vieto and what do you think of our future?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, Vieto has shown flashes of quality over the course of the season. He definitely got off to a slow start, and we were all kind of, wondering if he was going to pan out at all. I definitely think that he's a serviceable player, and definitely is worthy of starting week in and week out as he has been recently for most of the season, probably 2/3 of it, I'd say, at this point. But on the other side, I do think that he is inconsistent. I do think he tends to disappear from games at times. We've seen him be wasteful when it comes to finishing. And, just overall, the whole Vieto experience for me, at least, has been kind of frustrating. It's been a series of very high highs and very low lows. So, especially considering that $7.5 million for half his pass, even if we were looking to sell in the future, I mean, we're not gonna, we're at the very best we'll break even on that investment. So, I'm not convinced still, but he definitely, I guess warranted more chances, at least just because, who else is there besides, Camacho or Jovan, who still isn't fully fit yet. Not even taking Balassi and Hesse into consideration there, as legitimate viable options long term, obviously.
Yeah. Next question comes in from Casa de Paiva at Mpaiva7. He asks, how do you guys feel about possible returns to Daniel Cariço and Marcos Rojo? Both can play two positions, yeah. Cariço being a center back and a DM, Rojo being a center back and a left back. Is splashing out on Andrés Borar a panic buy? Should we wait till the summer for bigger and better purchase? Interesting questions. Steph, what do you think, dude? So first of the possible returns of Cariço and Rojo.
Okay, so basically, I like both of the players, even though that Rojo hasn't been playing quite a lot. But the quality is there. Maybe the motivation is not, because if you're a football player and you don't play, of course you're going to be not motivated, and when they give you a game to play, your performance might not be there because you're not playing on a regular basis. So I think if he comes to a club he's played before and he knows, and he's lived in Lisbon, Portugal, he knows the lifestyle, he knows what to expect. First, he's not going to struggle to adapt because he's been there before. And second, I think his motivation levels will go up just because now he knows he's going to start fresh. with a team that he knows quite well, at least the fans and some of his teammates. He'll be actually with two of his fellow shipmates, Vieto from Argentina and Bataglia. So that's a good thing for him too. I think for Rojo, I know a lot of Sportingistas don't like him. I don't know why though, because when he was a Sporting, he played well. He was sold for 18 million or 20 million, I believe. So he never fought Sporting. He was always very respectful. If anything, we made money with him. And to think that he might be on the downhill of his career, it just shows that certain fans they have no clue what football is all about. If a coach doesn't like a certain player, sometimes it sucks for that player, but it doesn't mean they lost quality. So we only have to gain if we get him back. And then Carrizo is one of ours. He's been performing at a very high level at Valencia. So if he comes back, of course he's welcome. Especially when we know that Thierry will be leaving for sure, and hopefully Ilori will be given to someone, because we're not going to sell him. Who the fuck wants to buy him? But the thing that kills me and breaks my heart, it's certain names like Demiral, Duarte, which they performing at very high levels. Now they're in very competitive leagues such as Italy and Spain, and we could have had some two top notches center backs, and we basically gave them for free. So
and they would have cost nothing either, because they both, well, one came from our academy, the other one we bought for like pennies from a Turkish club. So
yeah, that bothers me a lot. And then the last question about the striker. I think he's a good striker, but 8 million people for Sporting is because we don't have money. Let's be realistic. But if of those 65 millions, paying the banks 44, and then we spend half of it on a good striker, I don't think it's crazy. I think it's a good option, especially when they have enough feedback. They have a lot of information about this, a lot of tapes. They know he's a good quality. I would buy him now rather than later, because later he might really play well in the League at Alpha and then pull a great performance with his team, and then his value is going to fucking be, instead of 8, will be 16 million. And we need a striker anyway, regardless. A striker, like, how tall is he? He's like 6'2", I believe. He's pretty tall, 1.85, something like that.
Yeah, he's a target man for sure.
Yeah, he is.
So he's what we call un punta de lança puro. So we need someone like that. And to tell the truth, 8 million or 7.5, it's not a lot of money. It might be in the sporting world, but all the fees you've seen with decent players, what is it? It's like 20 million or more. So that's a reasonable price for a good player that needs to a team like Sporting to put him out there to go to another bigger club. And that's it.
Yeah, agreed. But we'll also get more into Sperrar in a little while as well. Last question comes in from _Pires only _ at Diogo190618, and he asks em Portuguese: que jogador acham que o Sporting consegue contratar com um bocado de esforço para colmatar a saída do Bruno Fernandes? Christian, I'll give that one to you. Who do you think is a possibility? I mean, we sort of went over this already, but who do you think would be a possibility out of those names that you mentioned earlier, more likely to come in and fill in the Bruno Fernandes shoes, if not in January, even next summer?
Yeah, to be honest, it's tough, man. You know, I guess they're so desperate. They even floated Ezekiel Barco from Atlanta United as a potential replacement.
No way that's happening.
I don't think there's a replacement. Unfortunately, there's players that you can try there. I mean, you can even try Wendell in that spot in theory. But you know, I don't. I think that it's going to. The solution is really the solution is to find a long-term solution is by building a better team, and you're not going to build a team around him, which you've done in the past 2 seasons shittily, but that's still been the thought at least. So now I say we sell him in January, rip the Band-Aid off. Like Steph said, his value is not going to keep increasing more and more. We're already getting robbed in these negotiations because we're little boys playing in the big boys league in terms of these negotiations. He's going to be the record transfer no matter how bad they fuck it up. And then we can go from there. But it will be really interesting, and we'll get into this. I know we keep saying we'll get into it later. We will get into it later. The players that come in the other way, are they going to be on loan? Because to be honest, if let's just say it's Rojo or Anja Gomes on loan until the end of from January to June or January to May, a 5-month loan in a lost season, I don't give a fuck about that. I would 100%. I only want permanent contracts. So yeah, maybe a season and a half loan is more stomachable, but a loan to the end of the season of anyone is just fucking stupid.
Yeah. At this point, we have to. We definitely sell them and we plan for next season already. If we do bring somebody in, or whether that's like buying them or via United, we have to start thinking of next season. Anyways, let's get into this 3-1 win away from home to Vitória Setúbal, who made up a big fuss before the game, and we'll get right into that. So Vitória wanted us to postpone the game because apparently 14 of their players went down sick. First they were saying it was a virus, then they were saying it was the flu. I don't know if players are shitting themselves or not. Long story short, they wanted us to postpone the game, and they were blaming Sporting and not the league for not postponing this game. And Sporting did reject that initial offer anyways, because why would we postpone the game? But anyways, let me ask you guys. That's my opinion, at least. Were we right to play this game? Should we have called it off? And do you think the league should have called it off? And Steph, I'll start that one off with you.
No. There's no way we could have given in to a team that opened his legs to Casamigos Benfica. There's no sympathy with them whatsoever. The reason they used it's so weak that it's unbelievable, because they have 30 players registered in Liga NOS, so they have more than enough players. I have no sympathy for Setúbal, because when they play against us, they play in a totally different way than when they play with Benfica. So me personally, I'm glad we didn't give in. Setúbal also in the past, they kind of forget, but we don't forget the fans. In 2 occasions, we tried to postpone a game, one in the Taça de Portugal 2 years ago, when we had played a Europa game for less than 48 hours, and they gave us the big fat finger. And then when one of our fans fell from the veranda at Stade Alvalade, and he died. And we tried to postpone the game as well so people could go to the funeral, and they said no as well. So fuck them with a big fuck you. No sympathy for them. I never liked, and I don't like teams that give up to other clubs because of exchange of players or loans or money in sacs azuis. Whatever might be the case, it's going on in Portugal. It's not a secret. You could see it. Sporting sucks this year. I'm not saying, that we win 4th place by demerit. We deserve to be in 4th place because we don't know how to play. But, Benfica is in 1st place because for 2 games in a row, they've been giving gifts. And if you don't want to see it, then you don't want to see it. But the reality, you could go home and replay the same play 10 times, and you'll see that the PK given to Benfica was not a PK. And even if it was a PK before that play, the Ops player was fouled. So anyway, but going back to Setubal game, I'm glad we didn't give it in and then fuck them. But they played well, I gotta tell you.
Agreed. And Chris, do you think the league should have intervened at all?
No, I don't think the league should have intervened. Apparently, the league didn't see it fit to intervene when a quote-unquote terrorist attack happened.
Exactly.
A terrorist attack happened on Portuguese soil, and they didn't postpone a game that had effectively unlimited time to be rescheduled. Seeing as it's the last game of this season, the Euro was in the World Cup was in the summer. But I mean, how many players from that Avs team were going to the World Cup? Maybe that Iranian guy. That's about it. Was he even on the team back then? No, I don't think so yet.
I don't think he was.
So I mean, we had Bruno or was Bruno even in the national team at that point, or Patricio, maybe two. So I mean, William, yeah. So I mean, if they moved it back one more week or gave it 5 days, or I'm saying like it was definitely a much more feasible option, because when are you going to move this game to? This game was this day because it needed to give them enough time to play Friday, which is already cutting it short, and then they have the League Cup the next week, and then you have the rest of the fixtures. Then you have the two Europa League games. Who knows how many more of those we'll keep having if we keep advancing. So it's just like, the schedule is built the way the schedule is, and it's like, what is in it for us to reschedule it? I know that no other team would have been, asked to reschedule it. I know that the conversation wouldn't be the same if it was Benfica or Porto. Porto got a game, changed from a fake like crack in the stands. And then the game got rescheduled, and then they played the second half, and then they scored like 4 goals in 2 minutes of the second half that they played like 2 months later. All this shit happens, and no one really cares. So I don't feel bad about it at all. You gotta look at the situation selfishly. If Sporting's players were all sick, Vitória Setúbal would have looked at it as like, oh, we have a chance to play a sick Sporting team, like, let's go ahead. We have a better chance of getting points, that's how they would have looked at the situation if it was the other way around. So I have no sympathy for them. It sucks. Your players are sick, whatever. You put up a good fight. I mean, like, on to the next. I mean, they're at this point, they're just embarrassing themselves with the dramatic show that they continue to carry on with.
100%. That's it.
Listen, I'm just going to add something else.
For sure.
The only person to blame for all this fucking mess, it's the president of Vitória Setúbal. He's so goddamn incompetent and so selfish.
He's so corrupt, too. He's so corrupt. He just got caught taking fucking bags of money.
All he should have done was like this. I'm going to place a phone call to my counterpart for the league verandas. Vlad, I got 14 players sick. Can we postpone the game? Yes or no? Listen, I wish I could, but I can't. We have a busy schedule. I mean, and that's it. And he should have left it at that, but he used the media to pressure Sporting. And then it became ugly, and then we Sporting look like the bad guys. Like, what the fuck? Why would the bad guys? I'm pretty sure Benfica and Porto wouldn't have given in. So,
imagine literally any other situation. Are they going to move a Champions League game because of this? No. Are they going to? Nope. They're not going to move anything because of shit like this.
They didn't fucking postpone the Taça Portugal final against Abs, like you just mentioned. Why would they postpone this shit? I mean, the Liga couldn't intervene anyway, because this has to be an agreement between both clubs.
Exactly. And the way I see it, this is similar to an injury crisis. Nobody's calling off a game if your players are injured. Nobody's calling off a game if your players are sick. 2, it has to be said. This, I think, is also a thing from the Setubal president to win votes, because it's no coincidence that I believe next month it's election time for Vitória de Setúbal. So definitely a ploy, definitely a way to turn the media against Sporting. And I think it's, like I said, like we all said, I think it's a ridiculous ask. No other league in the world, and this is what makes the Portuguese league look so bad. No other league in the world would have this much of a problem, this much of an issue, because players go down sick. The protocol was when these things happen is that you're supposed to isolate the players. Apparently, all 14 of them went all to the hospital at the same time. Vitória de Setúbal had players that were inscrito, that instead of having them ready for the bench, they decided to play those players on the U23 game 2 or 3 days before the game. So I think it's ridiculous. I think this is all for show. Setúbal's manager going out before the game saying that his team is uma equipa de merda, is a shitty team, I think is one, disgraceful. And then 2, from the fight that they put up, I honestly think that it's just them trying to pull the wool over our eyes, and they were trying to get something over Sporting. Because if you counted the people in their 11, a lot of them were starters. Carlitos, the one that scored, was a starter. Guedes, who should have scored, was a starter. Bessa, starter. Maida, starter. The keeper was a starter. There's a few names that I'm forgetting now. Most of them were starters. And lastly, the only point I wanted to mention, though I like the Setúbal fans shouting at Varandas. It's nicer than always seeing us shout at Varandas. And like Christian said off air when on the day of, like in our little group chat, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Definitely appreciate and like them, bitching at Varandas. I think they look ridiculous doing so because of this. And again, it just makes, to me at least, it makes the Portuguese league look even more amateurish than it already is. Yeah, a disgrace in my eyes.
Did you guys watch the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you look how many empty seats they had?
I'll say this. That's the fullest game that they've had in a long time, because I've been watching. I watch tons of games all season for every team, and that's the fullest I've seen that stadium in years. To be honest.
All I'm saying is Portugal is a tiny country. We all understand that, but that's a stadium that I think it holds maybe 12,000 or maybe less.
Yeah, I'd say 10 to 12 is a fair estimate, and that's on the bigger side as far as first division stadiums.
So this is a team that is like 100 years old or more, or maybe a little bit less. I went to and Chris knows that I went to a Philadelphia game, a couple of Union Philadelphia games. They have more fucking spectators than any Portuguese team. Not any Portuguese team, because the big clubs still, they put big numbers, but any of the average teams in Portugal. And this is a brand new team in the MLS.
Yeah, they're putting like 16,000 to 18,000 asses in seats every other week in America.
In America, yeah.
In America, which soccer is like the 5th most popular sport.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All I'm saying is the fault is because of our Portuguese culture. People don't want to change their mind. They want to leave everything traditional. They don't know how to do marketing for our Portuguese league. It's all the same fucking guys in na PAF, no governo, na liga, na federação, and then fans get sick of it. And that's what's going on in Portugal. They're not willing to pay 35 euros to go watch a game that we already know who's going to win because of corruption. Because they have their little friends in certain places like VAR. VAR didn't make any difference because the referees still control it, and they call it when it's convenient. When it's not convenient, they don't call it.
Mm-hmm.
So the Portuguese league is a fucking joke. Nobody's watching. I'm watching it less and less, to tell the truth.
Me too. Me too. All right. Let's move on to the game, I guess. Not a lot of talking points, but still a few. Our 11 was as followed. We had Luis Maximiliano in net. Christian Borja at left back, as we were. I think at least we were protecting Acuna from seeing another yellow to miss the Benfica game. But anyways, Borja at left back, Mathieu, Kovac, and Ristovski completing that defense. We had Bataglia, Bruno Fernandes, and Wendell in midfield with Vieto, Luis Felipe, and Yannick Bolasie up top. But we also had substitutions of Camacho, Hesse, and Pedro Mendes coming in for that front three as well. Christian, I'll start it off with you, dude. What were your thoughts on the game?
It was pretty shitty. Vitória and Setúbal, for some reason, my prime time for watching random Portuguese league is the Friday, like 4 o'clock game, our time, which is like the worst time frame if you're a fan of said team. The time slot we have this week for attendance, because it's like 9 o'clock Friday in Portugal. It's like, what the fuck? So it's Setúbal. Sometimes I feel like they're always in that game. So I've seen like 3 of their games this season. They are a park the bus, just ugly. That's their whole thing. I mean, they've been just scrapping draw after draw. Like they have an unlimited amount of draws this year. So they've just been scraping draws in like all their games, not scoring any goals, but also not letting up that many. So they have the worst offense and the 3rd best defense in the league. So that includes the big 5 or 6 or whatever. So I wasn't really that surprised with how the game went. I was surprised that actually it's not that surprising because they're probably all jacked up because there was more than like 40 people at their game for once. But yeah, I mean the game itself was ugly, poor finishing, not too many chances created. Sporting's first shot on target was the PK. There wasn't Guimarães or Setubal's only shot on target was their goal. It was one of those games. Went up 2-0. Their goal was a nice goal. Max definitely could have done better, but after that, that was probably the 60th minute. The 20 minutes after that, it felt like it could be one of those games, where it's just ugly. We're probably the better team. We probably deserve 3 points, but the other team just scores at the end. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago we dropped a game here at the Bonfim, and then Coentrão went off and was like punching the bench and like broke it. His hand was all bloody. He was like crying on the bench. That was here. I felt like it was going to be the same fucking game again. But
not to mention the Dingus, the game where I think 1 or 2 of them now that Dingus scored against us right at the end for either to nick a draw or even a win against us.
Yeah, it's Tondela and Setúbal. It's like every single time, no matter what, like it's gonna come down to the end.
Yeah.
And then nice counterattack. At the very end, Gamache to Bruno Fernandes to put it away, but boost the stats a little bit. Get Rio Ferdinand tweeting that Bruno scored. All that. So good result. Adverse conditions. And looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, and just quickly on the style of play that you were mentioning with Setúbal, just quickly on some stats. They only have, in 16 games, they have 4 wins, 7 draws, 5 losses. They've only scored 9 goals all season, and they've conceded 16, basically 1 goal a game. This is how like defensive their style is, and we've seen it against Sporting. But anyway, Steph, what were your thoughts on the game?
Well, first of all, I was kind of disappointed with Silas because one thing was good. You didn't play Acuna. He had 4 yellow cards. He saved them from the derby. Everything that we see on the media, it's bullshit. Then, second, why couldn't you do the same thing with Coates? So, you know why? Because he doesn't trust his other center backs. That's the main reason why. Because he has 4 center backs. Coates is very important to our defense. And he had 4 yellow cards. That was a yellow card. I don't care what people say. That was a yellow card. So
Did he deserve to be shown the fifth yellow card? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But of course, would that same play, would the Ruben Diaz be a yellow card? No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't, and we know why it wouldn't.
Especially
Because
not the fifth one the week before the Derby. It
no,
definitely
of course not, because Benfica controls the path. They do. So, and that's what sometimes I tell Benfiquistas. I'm not saying it's not a yellow card. It is a yellow card. But if it was your player wouldn't get the yellow card. The referee wouldn't show it to him because they know in advance this guy's got to afford four yellow cards. I'm not going to show it to him, and that's what Benfica has an advantage on us. It's they getting all the calls, even bullshit PKs, and they're not getting PKs against them. But coming back to our game, extremely disappointed Coates wasn't safe for the Derby because I knew it 100%. It was going to be shown a yellow card. It was just a matter of time if it was at the beginning, towards the middle, or at the end. I knew it. I even told my father, olha, o Coates vai jogar e contra o Benfica já não vai jogar. 100% garantido que vai levar cartão amarelo. And he did. And then my father called me back and even called me Bruxo, que era Bruxo. Yeah, because it's expected. It's like I'm not a professional coach, but these things in the Portuguese league, you can see it a mile away. But anyway, besides that shitty game by Sporting, we played well in the first half, second half. I don't know. We became complacent, being winning 2-0, not expecting much from Vitória Setúbal. But like you guys said, and really well, that Vitória Setúbal had almost their full team. I don't know why the president was crying because they had a good squad on the pitch. And this is when new players that can step up and show what they got. We're not crying about Vieto and Coates not being the Derby, which is on Friday. So what? We're gonna call Benfica and tell them can we postpone because two of our best players are not gonna be there. It's just part
Yeah,
of the game.
exactly.
That's the way it is. Just like in the NBA and football, many injuries with great teams like New England Patriots. They were eliminated from the playoffs, and everybody knows why. They had a bunch of injuries. So, but nobody bitched about it. That's the way it is. But yeah, I was not impressed with our Sporting. I blame. I love Maxi. I do, but I blame him for the first goal. You're a professional goalkeeper. That's you got to pull up that save. I don't care what you guys say. You can turn blue, and I'm still gonna tell you that's a save. Has to be a save. He's a professional goalkeeper. Aquele foi frango do caralho. I call it the way it
I
is,
wouldn't
and
say a
that's fine.
frango. He still got a hand to it.
That's
I wouldn't say
that's
a
fine.
frango, but he should
But
have got it.
that's
He should
but
have got it.
that's fine. That's fine. I mean, it's
100%.
I mean, we were expecting these kind of mistakes because he's a brand new goalkeeper with lots of potential, and I still want him to be the starter of Sporting this game and the following game for the remaining of the season. That's how he's going to learn with mistakes like that. But he didn't read the trajectory of the ball well, and the ball took a dip. But that's why you get X amount of money, and a goalie from a second division gets less money because we're expecting you to make those saves. So I just want to be fair and square. I
Sure.
think that was un frango. And then I saw a couple of hesitation for Maxi coming out of the small box. He can't have this hesitation. Either he comes out or doesn't come out. But
Mhm.
it makes him look weak, and then it makes the defense shaky because then now your defense is like fuck. Our goalie's shaky, and everyone becomes a little bit shaky as well. The midfield, our midfield was shit. We let the Stubble players kind of dominate us in the second half. They gained control of the midfield, and then they had some dangerous shots off net, but they were awfully close, a couple of them, and one of them went in, like we just spoke about. Uh, I was expecting Sporting to dominate the whole game, the 90 minutes. They should have, and they had the obligation to do so. So I think there's a morale issue that there's no one that knows how to motivate the players. and that shows that there's no raça, there's no espírito de alegria. There's nothing like that. Those elements that you need for a team to play well. And when it's like that, then we barely win against a B team, or A minus, I guess, because they had a lot of starters playing. But that's all I gotta say, man. We should have won like fucking 5-6-0 against this bullshit team that Benfica C because of Benfica B Braga. But we still suffered and we barely win 3-1. Holy shit.
Yeah, agreed. And yeah, I think I'll quickly go back to or actually, there's three talking points that I wanted to get to, anyways. But anyways, the penalty on Bruno Fernandes. Christian, you mentioned earlier that you thought it was a little soft. Steph, what did you think of that penalty?
I agree. It was soft. If the referee didn't call it, I wouldn't be crying about it.
Fair?
But that's because I was raised the proper way, and I'm not a lampion because lampions don't admit to it. That bothers me. I've been speaking with a bunch of Benfiquistas about two plays. The play from this weekend, and then play from 2 weeks ago. There's not one of them that will admit to it, even when you put in replay like super fucking slow, like slow. Even Stevie Wonder saw it, and he said it was a penalty. God damn it.
Yeah, exactly. The other point of conversation quickly we can get at, you mentioned it, Steph, Max. Max definitely should have done better. I think more at fault is Mathieu and Battaglia. Mathieu for one, not concentrating enough and just giving the ball away cheaply, and then two, for Battaglia not closing in quick enough. And it's just, to me, it's disappointing coming from a team that has Bruno Fernandes, a team that has a guy with a lethal foot on him that can score from anywhere, not to close down a midfielder like Carlinhos from Setubal. And lastly, Steph, you already mentioned it, the yellow card. To me, it's not a yellow. You said it's a yellow. That's fine. Christian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't like that as a yellow, to be honest. He's like pulling away. There's really not a whole lot of contact. To me, the deciding thing is it looks like he's looking to go down before he even glances by him. So for me, that's not a foul. I mean, I don't even think it's a foul. I don't even think it's a yellow.
I don't think it is either, because one, Quatch isn't really in his way. The player is the one that makes contact with Quatch. Two, the player is going down before he even touches Quatch. And yeah, like if anything, too, Quatch will be shielding the ball. But nonetheless, it was given a yellow, so Quatch will likely miss, or will definitely miss Benfica, and we'll be having a partnership of Ilori and Mathieu, which is I don't know whether to cry, to laugh, to fucking.
It's lethal.
It's lethal. Yeah, lethal for Benfica.
Eu se fosse o Silas, eu dizia ao Ilori, mira, bro, chuta para frente, mais nada, chuta para frente. Don't try to control the ball, chuta para frente, manda frente.
Last time we had Ilori play a derby, we lost 4-2, and like two of the goals were his fault. So
exactly,
this is gonna be fun.
Cool, yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Anyways, last question of the game. Who's your man of the match? Steph, I'll start with you.
My man of the match, Steph Teixeira now. Let me see.
Honestly, for putting up with that game, you might be.
I mean, of course, yeah, it has to be Bruno Fernandes. I mean, he's the one that. But Camacho, he couldn't be the man of the match because he only played a few minutes. But that assist to Bruno Fernandes was golden. Yeah. And but I would say Bruno Fernandes, yes, of course.
And how about you, Chris?
Yeah, it's got to be Bruno Fernandes. 2 goals, was the most consistently dangerous player going forward. I thought Borja actually played well. Probably his best game of the season. And outside of the yellow, I thought Coates actually had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got to be Bruno Fernandes.
And a special mention to Ristovski too. I think Ristovski is really
Yeah,
shown he's a
Rozier,
right back.
man. Rozier has disappeared recently.
Yeah,
He had plenty of chances.
And honestly, like we're not the first goal came from a Ristovski cross, so I've been impressed.
Rozier, he's enjoying Lisbon, a bit of uma cervejinha, uns camarões e tal. Que bom, isso é que é uma beleza, man. They could fucking hire me. I mean, I would ask for half of his salary.
Exactly, getting paid to just live in a top European city. That's amazing.
Fucking Sporting like Fernando. What do we get Fernando?
Yeah, don't get me started.
The fuck, I didn't know. I didn't know we were a gym like.
Where we take in all the injured players.
I thought centro de reabilitação. I didn't know that.
I mean, our president is a doctor, so.
Well, Dr. de Anos.
All right, moving on to the transfer window now before getting into the derby and to the weekends in modalidades. Obviously, the hot button topic is Bruno Fernandes. Before going into price tag and even details of the transfer, do you think he's going to leave in January? There were some rumors that the deal might be struck in January, but only leaves at the end of the season. And more importantly, do you think he's going to stay to play Benfica and the Taça da Liga? Steph, I'll start that one off with you.
I think he'll stay for the derby, most definitely, and I think he will leave after that, just because Sporting needs money to pay his creditors, and then they already asked for a loan from Mr. Apollo, so which I think we have to pay him some back each fiscal year. So I think he's gone because we need the money badly.
Yeah, fair enough. And so let's go into the deal now. Rumors of 60 to 65 million. I was always reading euros. I've recently just read pounds. Sorry, the dog's fucking whining over here. Anyways, with maybe an inclusion of a player or two. Rojo's been mentioned, as we mentioned. Angel Gomez. Fun fact: whose godfather is Nani. João Pereira, the goalkeeper, was mentioned. The newspapers I'm seeing now that just came out are mentioning Andres Pereira from Manchester United, which is an interesting move, but I don't know how reasonable or how realistic that one is, seeing that he is paid a lot as well. But Christian, I'll give it off to you. What are your thoughts of the potential move? Bruno Fernandes to United.
Yeah, it's pretty funny to me, actually, because the deal that they rejected from Tottenham at the last minute, Tottenham's best offer at the end of the summer window, is basically the exact deal that they are looking to make right now. So they said they wanted 70. Tottenham would only go 60 plus 10. And that seems like what Man U refuses to go past either. So they're just going to offer 60 plus 10, maybe throw in a loan of a 19-year-old and call it a day. Pretty stupid. I think that they held out in the summer because they thought they could get a better deal, but now they realize that I guess without, being buddy with George Menz, that you're just basically going to get bullied, and they're going to get whatever they get, which is pretty much what all these clubs have just. I feel like they've all made like a backroom handshake deal for no one to bid higher, and literally no one's going higher. The most I've ever seen is 65, but I don't think anyone's ever actually officially offered 50 or 65. Seen 55 plus 10. 60 plus 10, 60 in players. But I mean, these clubs have unlimited money, but I guess when they know they don't have to pay it, they're not desperately looking to pony up the money if they don't have to. So they just like know that they can bully Sporting, so they'll just be like no, and then eventually they'll We'll have to sell him. What are they gonna do? Hold on to him forever?
Yeah, exactly. I'm still shocked that we live in a world where Jetson goes for 10 million less than Bruno. That João Felix, and we've seen the season he's done already, has went for a 126. And I understand age has a factor in this, but I mean, it's not that Bruno Fernandes is like an old man or anything. He's in his mid-20s. He's about to hit his prime. How are we only getting 60 million for the guy? And
he's put up video game stats in the past 2 seasons.
Exactly. In the same league João Felix and Jetson have come from. In a worse team. Like, it's I find these numbers, like, insulting. Yeah. Steph, what are your thoughts on these rumored moves to United?
It's a fact that Bruno Fernandes also wants to make that jump to a more competitive league, such as Manchester United. I really thought that Tottenham would get him now because of Jose Mourinho. I'm pretty sure he knows more in depth the qualities of Bruno Fernandes, but it's not the case. So if he goes to MU, they only have to gain by acquiring Bruno Fernandes. The players that you spoke about, the goalie, I'm not interested in him whatsoever. He could stay at Manchester United.
He's a player that is there are these certain players that are literally just used as like money laundering schemes. I feel like he bounces around in a way that is so suspicious to me. He's not actually good. He's been on Man U's books for like 5 years somehow. He's a money laundering scheme.
I agree. Listen, I wouldn't want him at Sporting. We already spoke about the other
Where
ones.
is he? Right? He's at Hearts right now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is he was like re-signed not too long ago after like 4 like failed stints in Portugal.
We're talking about Joel, man.
Yeah, Joel. Yeah. If you're not good enough for Bologna or Setubal, you're usually end up being good enough for Man U. That's what they always say.
He's just like the Atletico Madrid goalie. What's his fucking name?
Yes, exactly.
Andre Moreira.
Same exact thing.
The same person. But it's funny. It's who's both of their agent.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
And yeah. Anyway, Steph, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's cool. I'm done. You can move on to modalities, whatever you have next.
Just a few more players. So we mentioned Sperrar already. I think we said enough about him. I'm excited for him. We need a striker, so I'll take him. Decent price. Cariço. Let's talk about Cariço a bit. I like him. I think, in my eyes, when I first heard the news, he's a mature replacement. I think. We definitely need a solid center back. With Bruno Fernandes going, we need a captain in the locker room. I think Cariço is that. And he could play 2 positions like Matt mentioned earlier. So I'm all for it. I don't know about you guys, especially coming in from a free transfer. Christian, I'll ask you. What do you think?
Yeah, I would take Cariço back. He's getting older. He's still playing at a reasonably high level. Very experienced.
He's captained Sevilla a few times. So.
Yeah, and I think that if he were to come back here, I definitely think that he would be in the running to be captain. Next season. Obviously, there's a chance that all 3 of the captains on the team right now won't be on the team next summer. So. Yeah. The whole hierarchy of leadership will have to be restructured, and I definitely think that he would be one of the captains, if not the main captain, if he were to hop on board. But that would be for the summer, not January, though.
Yeah, that would be for well, if anything, we would sign him now, or
it'd be like
probably know of it.
We announce it, and then it's like it's known that he's coming.
Exactly. Also, another center back, Joseph Font. Steph, I don't know if you wanna tackle this one for a bit, but what are your thoughts on Joseph Font coming to Sporting?
No, that's if we get Cariço, I wouldn't get Joseph Font. I don't want to, block a new upcoming player either from the under 23 or potential young player from another team that we able to make a good deal. So I would get one of those two, Zafons or Cariso, but not both. They both
Agreed.
they both getting old. I would prefer Cariso because I know he knows Sporting. He was from our schools and he has charisma. Zafons, he's a good center back. I like him too. I'm not saying I dislike him at all, but I think it would be really
Past his
dumb
best.
to get the two players at advanced age.
Yeah, the thing is you have to pay for Font too because he's locked up through 2021. He is 5 years older. I think they're very typical as far as the role that they'd have, as far as they'd probably be asked to do a little bit more than they're comfortable with, i.e. Matthew, in terms of minutes. But they definitely would be like a figurehead leader type center back, which, I mean, based on the teams that they've put together in the past couple of years, it's obvious that they value that. So I think they know that they're going to lose the current man that they have for that role, Jeremy Matthew, so they're looking to replace him. I mean, I don't know what a deal for a 36-year-old center back looks like, a mil or two maybe. And I'm assuming they both have on the higher side wages, so I'd probably call that a wash, about the same. So, I mean, if we can save $1 million or two and save 5 years, as terms of their ages, I lean Garisu as well.
Yeah. Christian, you got a few other players to mention. I don't know if you want to go through that list real quick.
Yeah. Well, we have Marcos Rojo, obviously. Mention him. There's news tonight that he has not agreed to join Sporting, and same with Angel Gomes. They have not agreed to join Sporting. So without the players' agreement, obviously, a deal for them is impossible. So definitely news to consider. But, I mean, Rojo, the way that he left Sporting wasn't so much his fault. I mean, that's the Godinho Lopes. Godinho Lopes,
yeah.
he sold his contract to a third-party investor, and then the third-party investor negotiated the player's contract to another team over the club's head because they had a bigger stake in his pass. So that's not Rojo's fault. Obviously, we knew he was a good player. That team was horrible, and he obviously stood out. He's a one time a game take a 40-yard shot guy. And
he's also a batshit crazy center back that's not afraid to fucking put his cleats through your fucking chin.
Yeah,
and honestly, I like that about him.
Yeah, he's very experienced. He's 29. On a permanent deal, I would not mind Marcos Rojo. For a loan, though, don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah, my only issue also with Rojo is he's coming off a few injuries, which have obviously left a mark on him. We see the Rojo we had at Sporting, and we see the Rojo even under Mourinho, where he played a few games, and it's not the same Rojo. It's not the same. He's not as good. He's not the same Rojo that was, an Argentine international. So
yeah,
those are my only concerns. But he can hack it in the Portuguese league for sure. So I'm all for Rojo as well.
Steph, do you have any knowledge of either Andreas Pereira, who's now the newest Man U player linked via loan, who's kind of made a name in the Man U squad this season at least, attacking midfielder, Brazilian, born in Belgium, or Angel Gomes, the 19-year-old, attacking mid winger for Man U as well.
They're both good. Both of them, they're good players. But the thing is, they not going to be replacing Bruno Fernandes for sure. This is basically we trying to find someone with quality that can minimize the pain that we will suffer when Bruno Fernandes is gone. So, like Danny said, we'll have to change the tactics to fit all these new players and to make a better team. I like both names, but 19 years old, I mean, he doesn't have the experience he needs, so we'll know from the get go he will be struggling. So he's not going to be like, be decisive and have 2 assists per game and a couple goals per game. So it's growing pains. That's what I foresee if we get him. So, and that's all.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really. I think we pretty much hit everyone. I don't know how much you watched River Plate last season, Danny, but are you familiar with Nicolas De La Cruz at all? The Uruguayan attacking mid.
No, not really. To be honest with you, I've watched a few games last year of River Plate.
Yeah.
But I haven't really. That name never really caught my eyes. To be honest with you.
Yeah, he has a market value right now of 15 million. And he's 22 years old. He's been in the Uruguay youth national teams. And he's definitely seeming to be one for the future, but obviously a heavy investment. And if you spend 15 million on a guy like that, he kind of has to be the guy, or the deal's a fail. So. But apparently, if Sporting is going to sign a South American playmaker, they're going to wait till the summer, and any replacement for Bruno Fernandes coming in January would come from Europe. That's the word on the street. I don't know about that. But yeah,
I'm surprised we haven't. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, hopefully, if they are doing the big time South American investment, they think it through.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't been linked to Almada again. From Velez, I forget the name now.
Vélez Sarsfield.
Yeah, there you go. I thought that would for sure be a name that we'd be linked to. But anyways, the last saga, or the last transfer I'll talk about, is an outgoing transfer. It's this Acuna saga that is low key, but it's just always still there. Where first initial reports were saying that Inter wanted 15, or they wanted a loan at first, but we rejected. And then some news came out saying that was it Hugo Viana and Acuna got into a spat. First, Steph, what do you make of these reports? And do you think we'll be, and this will go to both of you, of course, but what do you think we'll lose Acuna as well this transfer window?
It's a possibility. I mean, if they, I think if they offer 20 million, I think he's gone, because of the necessity of the cash flow. So I think if it's less than that, if they won't sell him, but then they promise him a raise, and then he's pissed about that he's not been given the raise he was promised.
Yeah.
So if Sporting keeps him, it's a good thing, but give him the raise you promised him. Don't be fucking jerk offs. And I think if you look at the whole picture, I think Sporting is trying to sell. If they sell Bruno Fernandes, then they'll give him the raise. I don't think they have money to give it to him now, as we speak today. So that's why I think that Bruno Fernandes, for sure, I would say 99%, he will be sold, because he'll be able, his sell for 65 million will be able to resolve a bunch of problems that we have financially, and with certain players such as like Acuna. And I know for a fact that Sporting also wanted to renew a contract with Coach. They wanted to keep him for an additional 2 years, I believe, until 2024. So that's my take on it. And then if we sell Acuna, it'll be a big loss. But if we get 20 million, that's a good deal. But don't get me wrong. If this guy was playing at Benfica, they possibly would sell him for 40 million. But,
I mean, he's been a better left back than Grimaldo, and I'm pretty sure if they ever sell Grimaldo, it's for 50.
And don't forget, he plays for the national team of Argentina, so it's not a bullshit team. It's a world-class team. So, but what gets me is Sporting Tarrasquinha. Every team that have good negotiators. They know that, and they taking advantage of our fragile situation and the unexperienced leaderships that don't know how to negotiate. It's not Veranda's fault or Vienna. It's just they've been put in a position, very difficult position they shouldn't be because they know nothing about that. They're learning. So if they wanted to learn, they should have been in the second division team learning all these things before they promote themselves to a Sporting Portugal. So we've been handled by amateur people. They now learning and building up their resume, and maybe one day he'll be a good president, and maybe one day Vienna will be a good manager, but they're not there yet. They should have been practicing in the second league on the Campeonato Portugal and Setubal Sporting Portugal, and now we stuck with them. And congratulations to the 71% that voted for them.
Exactly, and quickly, Christian, if you have any other thoughts about Acuna leaving or any other transfer.
I think based on the reporting and the tone of things, I think that one of Coates and Acuna is going to be sold in January. I'm not sure if they even know which one of the two it is yet, but there's no way that there's been so much transfer speculation on the both of them that now, and they both are owed new deals. They're not going to give them both new deals. One of them's gone. Personally, I hope Acuna stays and Coates goes because I think Acuna has a higher market value, has a higher ceiling, still has more potential to continue to increase his value, as opposed to Coates, who I think his value is peaked or / he's slightly removed from it peaking, and now he's on the arrow down in terms of his value and his age and all things considered, and I think he's also more replaceable. But I mean, that's my thoughts on it, at least. The language that's been provided makes me think that one of those two is gone. And it's going to be frustrating if it's Acuna and it ends up being less than the Zenit deal that they rejected last year, which I'm pretty sure it is, and he's going to leave for 15. That's my prediction.
Yeah. All right. I'll move on to modalidades. Just a few games. I'm not going to do as great of a job as Steph, but starting off with the basketball team, Sporting beat Overens 108-56. I was actually trying to grab some of the stats of that game, but I couldn't find any online, funny enough. Let me see here. The under-23 team tied 1-1 to Bilanish Sad, in a disappointing game.
We fell into third place, you know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Benfica, they have us by 4 points, and then Riwa moved into second place. So after Lionel Ponce went back to the under-23, he just fucked it up even more.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, he sucks. He's a fake coach. He was coaching Jumila FC. He's a fucking fraud. We got to get rid of that guy.
The same team where David Wang used to play,
yeah,
right?
If
so I'm not even sure.
If David Wang plays on your team, you're doing something criminal.
I mean, when you have such a great player like Gelson Fernandes, and you bench him to put fucking Fernando, it shows that you don't know nothing about coaching. So instead of giving minutes to an up and rising star, you sit him on the bench, and then the kid, of course, he loses his motivation. So that's why I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, at one point that team was like 20 points clear, and now they're in third. So they're winning every game like 8-0. Things have changed since then.
Yeah.
The next game, another one that'll piss, all of us off. I know we talked about these fuckers a lot this episode, but another bullshit way. Doesn't matter what type of, whether it's the men's game or the female game, they will definitely get bullshit calls their way. Benfica 2, Sporting 2 for the female Taça da Liga.
Oh my god!
Did you guys end up seeing that? I know Steph did. Kirsten, did you see that?
I didn't see the game. I saw the PK though.
The PK, yeah, ridiculous.
That PK is only a PK in Portugal, but it shows you that even in the ladies' league, Benfica is getting these bullshit calls. And I gotta tell you, I applaud Luis Felipe Vieira. I wish my president was like him, that he had the talent and the knowledge and the intelligence of and the influence on all the fucking Portuguese institutions like he does.
That's decades and decades.
I
and
know
decades
it is.
of
He's
corruption.
doing what Pinto Costa did in the 80s and the 90s. Now, Luis Felipe Vieira worked hard to do what he's doing. So I do applaud him, believe it or not. People might say, oh, this guy's crazy. He's applauding someone that's corrupted. Well, he found a system in the 21st century that works for him and his team. And they winning and they getting all the calls. And, as much as I hate it, because I do, at the same time, it's a genius move. This guy deserves a PhD.
Yeah, he's also stayed out of prison the whole time. Not only has he done everything he wanted and
let's be honest.
owns the whole country. I mean, he's massively enriched himself and avoided any sort of repercussions for his actions.
Exactly.
Ever.
Let's be honest. If he was our president and we were winning constantly like Benfica is now, and he upped the value of his team and he's selling players at 40 million when they're not even worth the 10 million, wouldn't we like it? Yeah. We would like it too. Come on,
winning is great. It's the New England Patriots for NFL fans. I mean, their fans love it all, but everyone else hates them. But I mean, they're fucking winning. So
who gives a fuck? Yeah, because I don't blame my Benfiquista friends. I have a lot of Benfiquista friends, and I don't blame them. I tell them all the time, listen, you guys win with fucking phony calls. You get all the calls. There's something going on.
It'd be nice. It'd be fun if it was us,
Of course it would be. I wouldn't. I would be just like the Benfiquistas. Epá, vocês estão com inveja. Anyway, but go on. Go ahead.
Steph, so do you know what happens to that Taça Liga then? Because it finished 2-2. Do we play them again or?
No. So now since we played 2-2 at Benfica, we play Casa Benfica. And then they will play Braga.
Okay.
Is this it's only 4 teams. Is there any elimination games, or is it just a table? A round robin and then a table?
No. There's a final, which will be in March. So the final...
so you play... So every team... So are some teams going to play 1 away game and 2 home games then? Or 2 away games and 1 home game?
Yeah. So basically, we're now going to play against... Casa Benfica, and then Benfica will have to go to Primeiro Maio Braga. Yeah.
But those are both. I mean, Braga's weaker this year than they were last year, and Club Football Benfica is obviously weaker usually. So I mean, 7 points should probably be enough to get into the top 2. You would think. Even 5 maybe.
So the winner of Sporting Casa Benfica will go to the final. The winner of Braga Benfica will go to the final.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. So we should be fine.
Okay. Also sticking on Taça Liga, only this time for the futsal. Things started off well. Sporting beat Braga 5-1 in the quarterfinals. Then we beat Mudicas, I should say, 5-0. But then inevitably losing 4-5 to Benfica in another, must be said, controversial game. Right towards the end, they should have got their what is it? It's 5,000 futsal, right? Right when they should have got their 5th foul, I think the ref didn't call it, and then boom,
the
6th foul, I should say. Correct, yeah. The ref didn't call it, and boom, 5-4 Benfica.
I know. No, you're right. They were 10 minutes with 5 fouls. 10 minutes with 5 fouls, and you telling me that for 10 minutes, which in futsal it's a lot of time. 10 minutes,
a quarter of the game.
Yeah. So you telling me for 10 minutes Benfica didn't commit a foul? That's what the struggle is with Sporting. It's like, fuck, even in futsal, these motherfuckers have influence. You know,
Yeah.
That's
I'm not
expanded
taking.
in recent years. That's a new. It's like they're like the Roman Empire. That's like a new territory that they've expanded
No,
into.
they have a name for that. It's called un polvo, and it is because look at the like he said, Danny. That was not a PK against the ladies. That's not a fucking PK. And in futsal, I'm not going to take the matter away from Benfica because we made a lot of silly mistakes. A lot of silly
Yeah,
mistakes.
fair.
You know,
Agreed.
Gita has made some stupid mistakes, but it's unreal that for 10 minutes Benfica didn't commit a foul. Bullshit. I saw at least 3 more fouls. But anyway,
But anyways, the matter is Benfica have now caught up to João Match in the same number of titles in futsal. So it is what it is. I love that quote from João Match. Next game is from the hockey. Senior team won the Taça Portugal 8-4 against Maidens. A big win for the hockey lads. And
they didn't. They won the quarterfinals.
Oh, was it the quarterfinals? My bad.
Yeah.
My bad,
that was the final. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Who are we facing next? We're facing. It's not Portugal, is it? Not yet, right?
No. I don't know. I'm not in front of a computer, but it's not Portugal.
Yeah, I don't know either. Sorry. Anyways, next was the senior volleyball team. We beat Caldas 3-0. Then we beat Famalicão 3-1 and Leixões 3-0 again. I know the ladies won, but it's not showing here for whatever reason. Okay, cool. And that's it. And we'll move on to the derby that's about to happen.
Well, just 2 quick notes. The under 19 they won 3-1, and they moved on to the final phase of the Portuguese Championship League. So we started very bad. I don't know if you guys remember, man. I do keep up with the youth league, and we're finishing out strong in the second place because we gave a lot of fucking terrain to Benfica in juniors, but we've regained that momentum. So now we're just 9 points away from Benfica, but it doesn't matter because the top 2 will qualify to the final league, and they all start with no points against 2 teams from the north and 2 teams from the Central Portugal, total of 6 teams. So, and then the Juvenis, they won 3-0, and Iniciates, I don't think they played, but they're in first place. And that's all.
Yeah, thanks, Steph. Perfect. We'll move on to the derby now. Before giving in your thoughts about prediction and all that, who do you think will replace Vieto and Quach? Christian, I'll start that one off with you.
Tough.
I think it's going to be.
Quach, I think it's obvious. It's going to be Elodie.
It's going to be Elodie, and then I think it's going to be Camacho.
Yeah, I agree. How about you, Steph? Do you think any differently, or do you think Plata will make an appearance instead of Camacho?
I think Camacho has got the upper leg at this point in time. He's been showing some more maturity at that level. But if Silas puts Plata, he's not going to upset me. I'm still going to be excited about it and expecting Plata maybe to show all his talent. That would be fucking great. I'm not so much concerned about if it's Camacho or Plata. I think both of these young players have the talent to replace Vieto. I'm more concerned about the center back. And Elodie doesn't give me any guarantees. I would look into the under 23 and promote one of them, either Quaresma or the Comexamo with Rapaz. I'm forgetting his name now.
João, yeah, I'm forgetting it too, but it's João something, isn't it?
Usually he's the captain. So, I don't know, bro. Elodie doesn't, I think mentally, when he goes into the pitch against Benfica, he's already going to be shaky because of his past mistakes. I don't think he's strong mentally. So I would rather go with another center back, Luis Neto. I don't think he's ready to go yet.
No, not yet.
No. So So I would look into the under 23 team and see and talk to the coaching staff of under 23 and ask them who's the best player that we have that gives us guarantees for this derby. And sometimes you'll be surprised. They might shine and play simple, and then and if they don't complicate the game, then we should be fine. But Elordi doesn't give me any guarantees whatsoever, and I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he fucking pull, pulls up a great performance, and I hope he scores like a couple goals on corners or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, man, he doesn't have to score a goal to me. As long as he does his job defensively, I'm more than happy. But I highly doubt. It would be nice to see Quaresma making his debut, but I highly doubt that'll happen. But anyways, what are your thoughts on the games, guys? Steph, how do you think Sporting will do? Do you think Benfica's new signing is going to have a big impact like he did a few years ago when he played for Dortmund? And then at the end, what do you think the score is going to be?
Well, I don't think the new acquisitions for Benfica will have a big impact right away because it's a new team, new league. They don't know. He doesn't know his teammates yet, so I don't think he will be the problem. I think Benfica as a whole, super motivated in first place, uh, playing so. They were playing better at the beginning. They kind of dropped, their consistency and performance quite a bit. They barely won against Ops at home 2-1, and they needed the referee to help them with a PK that fucking was not a PK. You can turn blue telling me it's a PK, but it wasn't. And even if it was a PK, they fouled the Ops player way before then. But I think, you know, our team is very shaky. Benfica is still playing better, but not as much as beginning of the year. I give the upper hand to Benfica. I know we're playing at home, but without Coates and Vieto, more Coates. Vieto, I think Camacho will be fine. Uh, it scares me a little or a lot actually, because Ilori doesn't give anybody the like the comfort zone that we're looking for. But if I would be Sila, I would definitely play on a 4-3-3 or on a 4-4-2. 4-4-2, a pouvoir ali o meio campo, um, and then maybe we have a chance to win the game in counterattacks. If we play in an open game, I think we lose for sure. If we try to dominate the game, and I don't think we're capable of doing so, especially with the center back that's so shaky. They will attack him. Bruno Lage is a good coach, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he's going to attack that weakness. Um, and if we keep Acuna, Mathieu, and Hitovsky, we should be fine. And then the weakest link will be right there, Dumbia and Ilori together. That's what's going to kill Sporting. Those two players. Dumbia has not improved. He's still weak as fuck. I was expecting him to evolve. I gave him the benefit of the doubt because of his age and being adapted to the Portuguese league, but he's taking too long to evolve. I was expecting much more from Dumbia, much more, and he's not there yet. So, and that scares me a lot.
Fair enough. How about you, Christian?
Yeah, I mean it's tough to think or to say that I think that we're gonna win. Because they're obviously not playing well, but they're scrapping results, and we are at home, but they're them. They're what 16 points clear on us right now. So I don't think that we're gonna win. I think that most things are stacked against us. You might not even have our best player. But if we can stop them, it's great. I mean, even a draw is bad for them. So normally I'm opposed to to saying a draw is a good result in these type of games because it's usually a toothless draw, like a 0-0 or something. But in this case, I expect absolutely nothing from us. So I'll take a draw because I know it'll make them less content with that result because they're actually playing for more than we are, at least right now.
Yeah, agreed. I'll agree. I think I'll disagree with you, Steph. I think we should try to attack the game. We should try to attack them the same way we played against Porto. I know they're a different team with different qualities, of course, and I think they're more dangerous in the counterattack than maybe Porto even is. But going back to their form, and I know form means very little to these games, but going back to their form, I think they're there to be controlled at least. And personally, I think Sporting are much better with the ball than without the ball. So that's where I would like us to attack the game in that sense. But I'm with Christian. I think a lot of things are stacked against us. I think Bruno Fernandes will play, but it'll depend on whether Bruno Fernandes already has his head set on the transfer and doesn't want to be as rash. And then, of course, with Camacho, we'll see with his inexperience whether that'll play a big part in the positive or the negative. But I'm not confident at all, and I'm hopefully I'm wrong, but I think we're losing this game.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you. I think the best result we'll have is a tie.
Agreed.
And hopefully we all that wrong and we win the game. That's what I hope. That's what I was hoping against Merda do Porto, man, because I don't want people to think I want Porto to be campeão. I don't give a fuck who's campeão. Porto Benfica, to me, it's the same shit. I don't want either of those teams to win the Champions League, but it's going to be one of those two teams. It's obvious. But we owe no favors to nobody. So,
yeah.
But I agree with you and Chris. I don't think we'll win the game. If we do, fuck. We'll play them a little later. Nah, but nada porque it doesn't mean shit anyway. It means 3 points, that's it. It doesn't mean shit. I don't want to be upset.
The hunt to not play the second pre-eliminatory of the Europa League is it's a battle, man.
I don't want to be like Sergio Conceição that he won Alvalade. He looked like he won the fucking Champions League.
Yeah,
that was embarrassing.
That's more important for him, though.
Yeah, but Sérgio Conceição, the way he was acting, beijar o emblema do Porto, and ele armado em estúpido. I thought he won the Champions League. I was like, fuck, o guys ganhou o Champions League, oh caralho.
Yeah, it's embarrassing that he even celebrated that much to a Sporting so poor, where we should have at the very least, got a draw. But
anyway.
All right, boys. That's the end of the podcast, number 62. I think it was a great one. As usual, of course, though. Yeah, next podcast, we'll probably be talking about the departure of Bruno. Hopefully, we'll be talking about Sparar and other acquisitions coming in. And though we said we'll think we lost, we're going to lose, I should say. Hopefully, on podcast 63, we're going to talk about an incredible 4-0 win where Ilari scored a hat trick. And anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to another podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at Sporting160_EN. Keep following, keep supporting. We appreciate every single one of you guys, and Viva Sporting.
Viva.
Benfica é merda.